for FaZe versus Immortals. Finally, everything looks like it's, well, at least some of it's ready up, but looks like we have to fiddle with the settings. Okay.
Just ensuring that we're doing the 90 field of view, which has been something that has not always happened before. It also just want to note that tgking.phase we believe to be cameraman. So
there you go.
Yeah.
It's going to be Ying banned out by Immortals to start things off. Not surprising to see her gone, no matter the map really. She is one of the more common bans. A little bit of time there for FaZe to commit to their ban, but it's going to be Dokkaebi. We see this quite often. Doesn't really matter the map, doesn't really matter the team. Dokkaebi is one of those operators that, well, the global. If you can take out Dokkaebi with Lion and Quarantine, you just eliminated an entire aspect of the attacker's game plan. I mean, it's really, really strong ban for anybody. Also, these smokes are extremely useful, especially on this map. If you had, for example, Ying and a Dokkaebi, that makes for a really easy armory wall take of attacking the top floor.
I actually wonder if we're going to see a possible smoke ban here come out from Immortals, because FaZe has been susceptible to smoke bans before, even though smoke doesn't always see a ton of usage on border. Might not be the best use of a ban, but now Immortals will actually ban Bandit, interestingly enough, which is kind of strange given the fact that I believe we saw Mute at a 50% pick rate earlier on. He's
really high up there. People have been playing him left and right, and this is because of the SMG-11 addition, because you can run the shotgun from the SAS operator on Mute, and I think most pros would agree that the SAS shotgun is the best for actually killing people, not just opening up walls, but, you know, going into a fight. You can couple that with the SMG-11, which gives you a little bit more range than a shotgun, but just in general, it makes you like close proximity killing machine.
Yeah.
And that's what's one of the reasons why smoke has been so popular for so long. That plus his amazing utility. But yeah, there you can see him being brought out. And some people will still bring the MP5, but yeah, you really can't go wrong on Mute. He's a very versatile, powerful operator. And the lack of the Bandit is not going to be a huge hit to anyone, to be honest. The reason why you would get rid of Bandit is so you avoid the Bandit tricking on the armory wall especially. But I don't know. It's not really going to save you any steps as an attacking team. You still have to go under armory wall and blow up from below because there's going to be Mute chambers there. So, yeah, just a bit of a side grade there, and potentially not the most effective ban from Immortals, but it could really fast track one of the strategies that Immortals has. We'll have to wait till we see them go to attack.
I really wish
I recognize those three little letters there, RMK. I recognize those.
Attackers recover the attackers must locate and
I hope that
I'm hopeful that we're not going to.
Nope, they mean exactly what I thought they meant. Because
all right, so I guess we'll come back to us.
Astro didn't lose his mind. Astro didn't just go crazy. It was RMK meant exactly what I thought it meant.
All right, so we will await the information as to why there was a rehost there. Like I said, I really wish I spoke Portuguese for moments such as that. So
I'm gonna learn Portuguese. I know I'm gonna learn Portuguese for something entirely different, but it's gonna happen.
All right, well, not much to analyze. I guess we can dive into the bans here. A Ying and a Bandit from Immortals.
There's not much to dive into.
Actually, kind of surprised that Immortals would ban a Ying, because I feel like against FaZe, a better ban might be a Blitz, a better ban might be a Finka, a better ban might be a Zofia, possibly an Ashe.
I get it. Personally, I get it. If you get rid, I mean, the Ying is a versatile operator on any map, right? But I think especially so on border. I mean, think about how many times we've seen an armory wall take when there's just a layer of smoke, and then the Candelas go through that smoke, and it's just easy push into armory. The only real counter to that as a defender is to play really far back in lockers.
Yep.
And we've seen that. Defensive teams go for a full retake strategy on the armory wall because they know they can't counter the Candelas. As soon as the ADSs are cleared out, it's an easy push. And the reason it's so easy to do that is because there's two specific locations where you put your Candelas, by lockers and in small office. And because the armory wall attack is so shallow, you just open the wall, you clear the ADSs that are obviously there with some flashes or some Thatchers, and you just Candela, smoke, and plant.
Also keep in mind that without a Mira, it becomes exceedingly difficult, because if you have a Mira playing in small office, then you can fall back enough, but you still have some information because if you manage to evade the flashes, you have the window to look through, you can counterpunch to a certain extent. That's not really doable if you don't have a mirror available.
You know what's really important that we haven't actually talked about? Maestro and Echo are both still in play.
Yep.
So, while, okay, a far back strategy, if a Ying is in play and Echo and Maestro are both still available, you've got the Echo and Maestro sitting way back. You don't even need to commit fully to a retake strategy because you don't have to have anybody playing by Armory Wall to hold the site. Yokai and an Evil Eye can accomplish that if the enemy team are not proficient at clearing out the utility. It is worth noting, though, this is very important, that again, because the Armory Wall attack is so very shallow, you have so much time to do just that.
To be fair, though, a lot of teams have been doing office takes as of late.
That's true.
For some reason, we have now swung towards take office, take control of Fountain, take archives. Armory really only gets pushed with those Yings. So I think another part of this, as you very correctly point out, a lot of the Armory takes that we see hinge upon two operators, Glaz and Ying. If you can take Ying out of the equation, then you're essentially forcing the attackers to try to commit to an archives take, in which case Immortals might think that they're better prepared to deal with it.
Remember the Empire Mocket match where Empire was playing on border and you interviewed, I think it was Karzeka, and he said exactly what you were talking about. Office is just their preferred way of attacking on border.
He said it was easier to control.
Easier to control, and they went to an office attack every single round. Every single round. They won that match.
Even when they were attacking Vents Workshops, they would still start with an office take.
Because you got to get something, right? You have to have a platform for your attack, or a beachhead as we often call it. And once you've established that, yes, okay, there's something that you can use to propel yourself into an actual assault into the site, no matter where it is. Like you said, if it's downstairs, upstairs, or even just tellers. I mean, if you take office control, well, I mean, if we're talking about tellers, then you need to hold office as a defender. But that's how you hold the site. Even if it's, let's say, customs. No matter what, you start with office control, and you have a whole lot to work with as an attacking team. So yeah, it's definitely, and Empire is on the top of the leaderboard right now. They're doing really well for themselves. So they, that's their mindset. It's working for them.
Yeah, I'm really eager to get this match underway because
Me too, Parker.
I genuinely want to see these two teams compete. I think Border will be very exciting. We're just waiting once again for one more member of the lobby to get in, and then we'll be able to go ahead. Your patience is still very much appreciated. But I mean, I'm intrigued to see exactly what's going to happen here. Border tends to be a mixed bag as to whether or not it's more attacker or defender favored. You've taken a set of disruption off the board. You've taken the smokes off the board for Dokkaebi, the disruption as well. But I'm really interested in that bandit pick in particular. I'm interested as to why it's a bandit, not necessarily a mute, as you mentioned. Mute right now, extremely prevalent, very strong. He can do also great work when you're defending ventilation and workshops. Think about it. You're going to bring a bandit to maybe stall on Armory side. You're going to bring a bandit maybe to stall on office and archive side. But there are a lot of teams that, running a mute upstairs when it's a vent workshop hold.
My theory, Parker, is the same thing as why we see so much Thermite play on in LATAM. Why people are, instead of banning out what they think is powerful, they're just playing what they think is powerful. So in this meta, right now, Mute is generally considered to be objectively better than Bandit for a number of reasons. There are a few circumstances where Bandit is going to be way better. Like, for example, when you're on Clubhouse, you're defending in server, then having a Bandit trick that wall is vastly superior to a Mute.
Construction as well.
But it's important to, but it's important to note that there are plenty of counters for Bandit now, and those counters are equally efficient against Mute. For example, Maverick. If Maverick's not banned on Clubhouse, you are going to have trouble Bandit tricking that. It might be just worth it to put down a Mute Jammer and hope for the best, because that's basically going to be the same as Bandit tricking it, except you're not putting one of your players at risk. And considering that the kit outside of the utility for Mute is superior to Bandit right now, it makes sense why we're seeing LATAM bring Mute instead of Bandit more often than not. And again, I think it's the LATAM mentality to let's ban the other one instead of the one we want to play, so we can play what we want to play. I think it's a very different mindset in terms of the ban phase than we have in every other region, but it is, I mean, it's a pretty obvious pattern if you just look at the pick rates and ban rates in LATAM. But, well,
the game is ready, so we'll launch back into Border. Celebrate, please. That was, you were very You're very happy about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get into the match.
We'll just make sure that everything is working before we go in. Cameraman will indeed be playing on the TG King account today. Not entirely certain why, but if you are watching, that's Cameraman. And
well, again, I don't think
finally we'll get underway.
I don't think FaZe is playing in their gaming house right now because again the power I think is still down. So it kind of makes sense, but yeah, it's weird that he can't get into his account. Maybe it's like two-factor authentication is limiting him right now, or maybe his stall service is out, something like that. I don't know. Or that wouldn't make any sense, no, because that's not how it does. It's not through text, it's through authenticator, so I have honestly no idea. But yeah, that's Cameraman. It's not a sub. That's something that usually doesn't happen, isn't it? You can't really, you don't see somebody playing on somebody else's, or maybe it's, well, whatever. I'm not going to question it. The admin's okayed it, and that's all that matters. So, it's going to be a top 4 defense here for Immortals, and they brought the same kit, same everything.
It's typically the rules. They have to bring the same lineups. They have to go to the same site. You have to roll with what you had.
It's not always happened, but yeah, here it is. And the setup overall, pretty standard. I like some of these cameras here from Navi's. Looks like he's going to throw one outside. Maybe on something nice and high, or maybe in the little bush there. See what he can capture. Oh, it's going to be on the van, okay, or truck rather.
I think that's the same thing that he was trying to do last time before the remake call was made and Astro decided to kill everybody, but that kind of thing happens.
Yep, Astro went full traitor. I think it didn't really matter though with the remake called, so.
Yeah. Did you call him a traitor?
Yeah, full.
He's playing for the other team.
I said full traitor. Yeah. I mean, the match was over. I mean, we weren't playing the round, but he's probably just trying to get some aim practice in.
He was stat padding, man.
Yes, yeah, that's what it was. It was stat padding.
Track that one, Siege GG. All right, 30 seconds in, and well, would you look at that? Immortals has lined most of their defense up over in the office side of things. So obviously anticipating a push from FaZe over to CCTV and possibly over towards Armory Wall. But that's not really the case right now. You've at least got Astro over on the office side of things. So it could possibly be an office push. And yeah, it indeed looks like that's what it's going to be right now. The wall inside of office gets opened up by a thermite charge, the most picked operator in Latin America on attack, and Immortals have had to completely evacuate.
Defender has left the area of operation.
Going for rotation. Made his way into CCTV. Navi's playing the hallway. You could see that Immortals is looking to gain as much ground as possible. But it's not going to be easy for them, of course. Considering the way that FaZe has set themselves up, they have control of the east stairs, and that'll cut off the rotation into the main hallway. So these two players, they can look to distract. Ooh, and this is actually really smart from Navi's. He could open up another angle that's going to distract FaZe Clan. He actually might have hit one of those shots on Astro, who has taken a little bit of damage, but it could have been somebody else as well. Overall, though, FaZe Clan going slow. I don't think this works. Did it? No, it still works. Okay. I heard somebody say that they fixed it, but apparently they didn't.
No,
who was that who said that? I believe it was on a broadcast.
I thought as well thought that we had heard that apparently they patched that out. Yeah, I was going to say that they were trying to make it so you couldn't do that anymore, but Bullet will get the very first kill. Guns down Mav, the butt goes goodbye. Cameraman will refrag onto Cyber, but then PX is there. And it's going to be trading back and forth, 3v3 now as Moringa finds his, and Cameraman will creep on up towards metal detectors. Astro with such an accurate shot just cannot land it onto the mute, as there's PX and M King with the joint SMG-11s, proving that that sidearm is still often considered a primary to most. And Immortals will lock down that very first round upstairs on Armory. Likely going to Vents and Workshop next.
That was really interesting the way that played out. Mostly coming down to the refrags and Immortals being able to keep the momentum just a little bit in their favor. I'm surprised that Immortals managed to win it, to be honest. The way that FaZe Clan was positioned, it looked like they might be able to just strangle the Immortals defense. But they got a little ahead of themselves. The coordination just wasn't there. And yeah, it's unfortunate to see. Again, I feel like FaZe are in a bad place right now, mentally. And it's something that they're going to have to overcome in the middle of this match. I feel like starting things out, losing the first round, that is going to be detrimental to FaZe's mentality. And it's something that is really going to make this a lot harder.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
I feel bad for FaZe. But Immortals definitely earned that round. can't take it away from them. They played it well. I do think that they made a few mistakes there. Of course, a little bit too, say, fluid on their defense. There were a lot of positions that Immortals had control of, and they forfeited for no conceivable reason. And it actually did end up hurting them. For example, we had the Ash in the main hallway. Very powerful position. Could have done some work there.
Jammer ready.
Cameraman didn't accomplish anything in that position, not really, but there was the potential for it. He was just unable to capitalize on his positioning. Either way, Immortals just winning the gunfights, winning those trades. Really great defense overall, and a big part again. They were very fluid, and I wouldn't normally call that a good thing, but hey, it worked.
Yeah, they didn't really play that office take the same way that a lot of teams do. It was a very forward aggressiveness from Immortals, contesting all the way up towards those two half walls that look in towards the archives. And given the fact that the mute was so important for PX in round 1, and now we're going to see it come out again, I think that really speaks to why Immortals did pick the Bandit ban, was because they knew they were going to run mute, and because they start on defense. This was touched upon by Milos yesterday in the broadcast, and it's actually a question that a lot of people have answered. I don't know why Cyber was in a position to die that early.
But he did, though.
But he did, and that's a big opening kill. Taking out the Legion, too, is really important with 40 seconds on the board. You have, at most, 3 goo mines down, one of which, I would wager, has probably been spotted and shot at some point, possibly by Astro. But just
not a very good Legion right there.
No, that was not a smart play by Cyber. I would imagine that he just did not expect the Zofia to be able to get that aggressive so quickly on. But just to finish up my point before we transition in here towards this round, teams will choose which operators to ban depending on where they start. Immortals was starting on defense. They get to try and give themselves an advantage by banning a defender that they don't use for those first 6 rounds, but will hurt FaZe, presumably hurt FaZe. So that would be why the Bandit goes and not the mute.
Sure. Immortals in a standard array here, but having lost one of their players early on, obviously at the disadvantage. Bullets retreat, they're covered. Immortals have already done a good enough job to delay on the top floor. They don't need to linger there any longer, and they're going to completely default, going back to the site. You can see them now just waiting patiently. Definitely the right call, but it looks like actually we have a rotation by the east stairs. It's going to be Bullet moving his way up to support M-King, who is actually still inside of offices. So 2 anchors, 2 roamers, but the roamers far afield, not from where the attackers are trying to pressure upstairs, which is by Armory. The roamers are focused on office side. Meanwhile, Navi's downstairs can hear somebody inside of Customs, goes for the fight, but no bullet's going to land from either player. Oh no, caught in a rotation, and there you go, cameraman. Able to get a kill onto Navi's. FaZe Clan put themselves up 2 men and are in a dominant position.
Navi's will be working those cameras now that he's off the board, but it'll also be the only C4 available unless we saw PX have one in his hands, likely not running the bulletproof camera. So you'd still have 1 explosive left, and there you go, indeed, the Nitro Cell for the mute, who's just really gonna have to try to carry some weight here. He's pushing on up all the way into Workshop. Same with M-King, who just has a bit of difficulty with the recoil on the SMG-11. Walks away with the kill, traded off swiftly, as there's another kill as well going in favor of FaZe. All the action off screen as Astro credited with a massive round, and PX trying to keep his team in it, but he gets felled after unsheathing that C4, tossing it out, letting it rip, but it gets jumped upon, and FaZe will at least counter after Immortals takes round 1 and tie us up.
You know what I'm noticing, Parker?
What are you noticing, Michael?
I just think lack of information gathering on Immortals side. The only thing that they have really is the Maestro and the Valkyrie, but they're not, either they're not utilizing those well, or they're not acting based on the information that they do have well. Because the way that Immortals have been playing, both in the first round and the other round, they give up a lot of really crucial positions that could potentially sway the round in their favor, based on what it seems to be a lack of information of where FaZe are attacking from. But just in general, the way I would describe Immortals gameplay is extremely fluid, never ceasing. It's like you have your set defaults and you're just bouncing in between them. Instead of using the information that you have at your disposal to pick the ones that would be the most crucial to hold and sticking to those because they would assist your team by doing that. I mean, for example, we had Navi's in the main hallway downstairs in the last round. Picked off easy. Why? I have no idea. But he was just walking around in the main hallway. We also had the Legion upstairs in CCTV. Died early on. Why? Because, I mean, he died because he didn't have the information. Why is he playing there? I have no idea. It's definitely a really weird way that Immortals are playing, and again, it was in the first round as well. FaZe just weren't really FaZe played worse, but I think there's a lot of holes in the Immortals defense right now, and they're going to have to really button that up.
I mean, the fact that the Legion got picked off so early as well really speaks to the fact that they just were not prepared for that setup. You shouldn't have found Cyber in that position to die early on. Regardless of how quick Astro is to the punch there, that's 30 seconds in.
Also, just generally, the FaZe attack into Armory was unhindered. There was nobody stopping that Armory take, and I believe it was Legion's job, but...
It could have been the Legion coupled with the way the mute jammers were set up upstairs as well. Maybe slow them down, deprive them of that information, have Legion be able to use his goo mines as a means of information, because I think a lot of people forget that Legion is also a pseudo intel gathering operator. When those goo mines go off, you get a very brief bit of information as to where the push is coming from.
Definitely pseudo though, not fully dedicated. But I'd say it's definitely a thing that he can do. M King trying to challenge onto the northeast balcony as he knows there's an opponent coming from that location. FaZe are focused on this office take, and this is actually going to play into Immortals' hands, as Immortals are better set up to hold from the office rather than Armory. It's going to be slow, though, for FaZe regardless. They're not trying to push their luck right now. Every round does count. They have control of East Stairs, which is a great platform to start your attack.
Did you just notice how many different drones FaZe has up at this exact moment?
Yeah, they've been really going ham on the drone work, and it's really working in their favor too. Yeah,
and that information is going to pay dividends as we start to get towards the end of the round, because you'll be able to have a bunch of entries back into the site cut off. You'll be able to flank watch effectively. Navi's will miss a drone, as we'd mentioned. Moringa was there, able to distract him, gets hit with one of the concussive blasts, the Guzmats from Astro.
He also can catch Navi's standing in the middle of the hallway, again, for some inconceivable reason. He's also used his Nitro Cell, which is unfortunate, a little bit of lost utility.
But we got to give credit for Immortals playing a lot safer this time around. They've still got everybody upright with only 50 seconds left in the round, so it's good timing on their behalf. Though, we see bathroom pressure finally applied from FaZe Clan, and by cracking open the back end of that site, we can actually begin to see FaZe transition towards an execute. The buck of Mav is still above. He's going to try to open things up as best as he can, but Immortals still just sitting and just waiting. They'll force M King to drop one of those toxic canisters in order to cut off Yuna inside of Tellers as he looks towards the single panel that leads into Workshop that's not located in the bathroom. PX knows that there's going to be a push from that direction. He tries just to go for a pre-fire, but Immortals will double up, taking out Astro and Cameraman to start off this execute. They're locking it down now as they pick up 2 more kills, and Moringa, impactless and not able to collect the frag that he needs. It's a flawless round from Immortals, who looked a lot better on their Vent Workshop defense that time. And they'll pick up their second round.
I think you said it right in the middle round there. Immortals playing a lot more passive, not giving themselves away, and not exposing free picks like they did in the previous round. And that's part of it. But I'd say a bigger part of it was FaZe playing even more passive, but on attack. I mean, Navi's was caught. He was droned out for a solid 10 seconds in the main hallway. He got hit by a lifeline, the Guzmat. He was disoriented, thus slowed, and there was somebody in a position to peek him from open area. But nobody did. That right there is an opportunity presented by Immortals and missed by FaZe. And it was because FaZe was playing it entirely too safe. Just way too safe. Then they get to the wall that is the time, coming close to the end of the round, and FaZe has to go for an all-out attack, and they get caught in the web that is Immortals fully stacked with having lost nobody in the early to mid round. So, not a great round from FaZe, a better one from Immortals. Definitely getting a little safer, but I'd say it more comes down to how FaZe played that.
Yeah, and Immortals gave them nothing, but FaZe didn't find any openings to take either, and FaZe didn't give themselves any openings. They didn't pressure Immortals to find the room to maneuver. Instead, FaZe was, as you pointed out, extraordinarily passive. And because of that, Immortals never really had any issue trying to deal with FaZe's entry. Immortals fell back, they held the angles that they needed to, very close to the site. They kept the Valkyrie downstairs, watching that hallway, leading over towards Customs, leading over towards the main lobby. Never any real pressure on her. We saw there was that one Guzmat line that came out from the lifeline of Zofia, but there was no follow-up at all. Even though Moringa had a drone, and Astro had all the information as to where the Valkyrie was, FaZe stumbled to be able to do anything with it. Yeah. That was the story of that entire round.
Again, FaZe slow. Unable to make anything happen. They're droning out everything, but not acting on that information. Cyber has been droned out in CCTV. 2 drones in here earlier. He's gonna eat some damage, but persist. This is interesting. Camera has completely fallen off the fight. Just straight up gave up on it. But Astro's gonna get a pick in the main hallway. Moringa also will take out M-King, so here we go. FaZe have managed to make it work in their favor, distracting the players in CCTV and Armory, and allowing for 2 picks over by the opposite side.
Now, how much of that was FaZe being able to find the way to push Immortals, and how much of that was Immortals just being a little bit too risky?
A bit of both.
A little bit of both. So because of that, you lose both your Smoke and your Maestro. Those are crucial operators, and the way that Maestro is essentially able to sit and just command control of both of those sites with the Alda at his disposal, that's not a great position for Immortals, and it also will not be a great position for those Evil Eyes, as they quite literally will be immobile from this point onwards. Navi's looked like he was playing very far in on Fountain's side. He's obviously moved back in towards Armory. He managed to take out Cameraman, leaving FaZe down one of their fragging operators. But they still have a lot of time to work with. And if Mav can position himself below and use that skeleton key to be able to try to open up the site, this could be very bad for Immortals.
They're still in a defensible position, but with such low manpower. Oh, here we go. Navi's with the 2nd kill, actually. Mav goes down, and that's a strong fight back from the aggression of Navi's. You really have to do that when you're at such a disadvantage. Astro came off of this balcony and has since returned, but he will die in that transition. That's 3 for Navi's. He's looking for a 4th there on the north balcony. He's now trapped inside a B, so not a great position to be in, but he's already done enough work. The rest of his team now in a position where they need to put in some of their own. Cybero's going to take one, so the ace denied, but it's a 4K for Navi's, and the round will go to Immortals thanks to his effort.
There's even flashbacks of you grabbing all the aces before he got that 3 kills, and I was like...
I knew you were going to say it.
I have to say it.
You have to,
It's in my contract. I signed it.
Yep.
I signed it yesterday night.
That's true. I saw it.
Mm-hmm. You did. You saw me sign.
He has to talk about every time I cast an ace.
It was like a WWE like contract signing in the middle of the ring.
You know what?
Got brought down.
You guys couldn't see it obviously because we're off camera. But as soon as the 3K came in there for Navi's, like his hand went on, or his elbow went onto the desk, and his head went into his hand, and he's just like, his mouth is like a little ajar. He's doing one of those "Are you kidding me?" faces. I was as equally sad at that exact moment as I was at the end of The Notebook. So it was a very wholesome film, and I gotta say, oh, it's a movie. Okay,
it is a movie. It's also a way for you to keep track of what's going on, which was what we use.
We use notebooks. Yeah,
we use notebooks.
I like my notebook. Do you like my notebook, Parker?
I think your notebook's really nice.
Look, it matches the strap of.
I mean, to be fair, the best part about The Notebook is Ryan Gosling.
What? Oh, the movie. The movie.
Yes, the movie.
I have not watched it.
Joke. But anyway,
is that the one with We're gonna drop it.
It's Rachel McAdams and Ryan.
We're gonna drop it. Yeah, we're gonna drop it. Well, you can show it to me later.
Do you want to watch The Notebook with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.
It'll be a fun date.
Thanks, man. That'll be a great time. All right. Round number 5, Immortals has quite the advantage at the moment in 3-1. They'll go back to, well, they can't go to ventilation workshops. They can't go to Armory.
Right.
Where are they going to go?
Customs.
They're going to go downstairs to Customs.
It's weird that they're going to Customs. Usually in Latin America, actually, the preference is Tellers. Yep. We have seen quite clearly that. But not so in this match, it seems. Possibly just Immortals trying to pave a little bit of a new direction there and keep their opponents on their toes. And that makes sense to me. Both Customs and Tellers are equally not great. And I mean, you're not going to get an advantage playing one or the other. So play whatever you're comfortable with. Try to mix up your opponent's strategy. Why the heck not? M-King, as you can see, set up to gas canister outside of the jail wall. So he's not trying to trick it, as he doesn't have impacts. But, hey, you can do some damage if a thermite goes to plant an exothermic charge. Why not? Again, it's going to be very slow from FaZe. I think, you know, I'm going to predict this right now, Parker. In the attacking half, and we've already seen this be the case, so this is not a hard prediction, but in the attacking half, if FaZe doesn't get any picks, they're going to lose every round. If they get early picks, then they're going to win every round, and that's kind of been the story so far.
It's also unfortunate for FaZe given their personal circumstances that they're in, because I don't think that helps their mindset at all.
I was just talking about it, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they need to seek literal shelter somewhere else to play is not going to give them the best fighting chance. So that is a boon.
I mean,
for Immortals.
You know, you got to imagine that FaZe has brought their mouse pad, mouse, and keyboard, same as your land play, right? Your land play, pardon me. But you're playing on someone else's computer.
Different chair, different desk, different setup.
And it's just different lighting around you. That is actually a huge thing when you're playing video games. Is the
Comfort
lighting
matters a lot.
Yeah, it really does. And it's not like Immortals has to go through the same thing. So yeah, it's definitely a disadvantage for FaZe in this match, and while they've come close to a lot of these rounds, they haven't been able to take it. But here we go. Cameraman starting things off well, getting that early pick onto Bullet. But again, we've seen this before. 2 picks in a row for FaZe. Last time this happened, Immortals made an exceptional recovery. It was very close, though. We'll see if they can do it again.
Those were both picks that were playing above, though, so Immortals do lose their second floor control. You saw Cyber also drop down, so he who was playing on that second floor will try to go in towards the site. Give himself away, unfortunately, too. So the Valkyrie's position will be known and can possibly be cut off. Oh, MKing has 2 bodies near him, and that is a bad place to be in, but FaZe can't capitalize. Cyber is there, and MKing trying to outduel, but just sloppiness on both sides. The Jaeger pulling double duty, and Cyber coming back to the site. He'll collect a double. Incredible play and great recovery from Immortals, as now Cyber and Navi's get back in towards the site. MKing single-handedly holding off the push through jail with those toxic canisters, which means that now FaZe is going to have to recover. Michael, you called this perfectly. FaZe takes the lead in terms of a 5v3, but now it's a 3v2 that benefits Immortals. Utility starved, though, for MKing as he's once again playing by jail. He peeks a little too aggressively, gets pinned down by Mav, and here's the recovery from FaZe as Yuna grabs one of his own, and Cyber, who's been playing so well. He's got 2 kills so far, will need the 4K. An easy follow-up as Yuna just tries to drop into the site. It's a suicide drop, though. The Bucks position known. They'll play around the customs machine. And Cyber with the massive clutch to hold the round. And FaZe drop one that they had in the bag. Immortals take their 4th round in 5 in what? An impressive fashion.
You know, I predicted that if FaZe gets the early picks, they're going to be able to take some rounds, and if they don't, then they're just going to lose flat out. But I should have predicted instead that if FaZe gets the early picks, they'll have potential to win a round, come close to winning a round, because we've seen that twice now. They get those 2 early picks, and then they fall apart on the site take. And I gotta point this out. We have to be honest. How much of was that Immortals playing well, and how much of it was FaZe playing really poorly? Because that smoke in jail. How did MKing not die? He got spotted direct line of sight by 3 of FaZe Clan from 3 separate angles. Left side of jail breach, right side of the jail breach, and then from behind inside of customs. And he just didn't die until he overpeaked and gave himself away. That's not Immortals playing well. That's not MKing playing well. He didn't get any of those kills to deny himself being killed. 3 people on FaZe just missed shots. And again, we're going to bounce back to this because it's really worth pointing out. Usually what we say is this is not the FaZe we expect to see. It's not the FaZe we're used to. We say this with a lot of teams who have bad days, and it does happen. But it's not the FaZe we're used to seeing, and there's an obvious reason why they're not in a comfortable position. They're not where they should be. There's nothing they can do about it. But it is a bona fide, genuine justification for how they're playing right now, not even an excuse.
3 separate members of FaZe had an opportunity to kill MKing in jail, as you pointed out. 3 separate members, and MKing got caught with the toxic canister in his hand 1 time.
Caught with his pants down.
He got caught, exactly, he did. He absolutely did. He was completely embarrassed and had every chance for FaZe to be able to get a very free kill. And not only that, but not only would that have been a massive kill for FaZe, that would have been their 3rd, but MKing also single-handedly held down the rest of jail. Navi's takes a big gamble. He picks off Astro. The site is downstairs in Ventilation Workshop for the very final defense of Immortals here. And yeah, whether it's circumstances involving their personal situation or not, FaZe just have not looked the same. The better question is, does this team make it out of groups with the way that FaZe has been playing? Because they finished 2nd in Rio. They clobbered everybody in BR6, and they looked unstoppable. But FaZe, there's trouble in the water here. What a tremendously good shot from Mav on the PX. through the wall.
He had no information to get that shot, but he still landed it anyway.
This is going to be a big waste from Navi's, anticipating that the Buck is still playing inside of Tellers, but Mav has retreated, hopped out the window, and will seek shelter elsewhere. But I think Immortals has the drop on FaZe for the time being.
Yeah.
They know that the pressure is going to come in the lone reinforced panel, which is going to be outside of that Teller's doorway. If you can keep somebody there and possibly stop anybody from being able to open that up, i.e. Moringa, then that's huge for Immortals. The downside, Immortals just use their only C4 a little bit too early.
M-King upstairs, though, in a good position to deny. If he just holds the angle, he will get the kill, and there it is. Yuna goes down. Slight correction earlier. FaZe has a drone in the site, so they still have a lot of information being gathered on Navi's, who's going to get aggressive, but still will win the fight against Cameraman despite being spotted out by his opponents. Bad information gathering and calling for FaZe there to give that kill away, leaving just Mav and Moringa. Mav, one of the most clutch players on FaZe. He needs to salvage this round alongside Moringa, or the match is going to be very difficult to recover. Perfect opportunity to get a kill here in hallway, but he doesn't know it because the information's just not there. And unfortunately, he will miss that opportunity that he didn't know he had. M-King still holding the doorway to the bathroom. Pretty easy hold, all things considered. Cyber's position here is going to be very important, but he misses some crucial shots there. None of his bullets landing. Navi's is forced into bathroom thanks to that grenade, but a flank from M-King will secure the kill onto Moringa, going for a second in customs, and he's going to get it with the shotgun. Mav goes down, and he does a little bit of a flip. Immortals will take their 5th round, and very close to taking the whole match.
Mav didn't just go down. The man was doing aerobics in the middle of customs with that one.
Yes, very, very impressive.
Theatrical, I would say.
Dramatic.
One thing that FaZe really struggled on through those 6 attacks was being able to control the corridor at the bottom of the main stairs. Very hard for them to flush out the player from Immortals that was playing in that position. We saw the Valkyrie playing there a number of rounds. We saw the Jaeger playing there. And when you've got Nobbies and Cyber, both of whom were very strong shots and have been among 2 of the best players in all of Latin America for quite a long time, for a number of seasons now at least. You need to be able to use your utility. And I understand that FaZe, for the most part, likes their fragging operators. You know, they used to bring an awful lot of Twitch. They bring a lot of Ash. Losing the Dokkaebi hurts them because you have to put Astro on another role. He can't play the Dokkaebi. Instead, you're going to put him on the Zofia. I find it very interesting that it was FaZe who banned that Dokkaebi. I don't think there was enough utility that was being brought from FaZe to be able to flush out the rest of Immortals. And it was something I touched on in the 2nd round. How much is it that Immortals is playing passively and very smart, and how much of it is that FaZe is just not having the tools to open up Immortals' defense?
I don't think Immortals is playing passively at all. I think they're playing more passively than they were at the beginning when they dropped that round against FaZe, the 2nd round total. I think they did tone it down, but they're still using some pretty dangerous rotations to get some of the kills that they're getting. Like, for example, the main hallway downstairs that you talked about. The FaZe seems incapable of having control over, at least when they were on the attacking side. It wasn't just that main hallway, though. I mean, across the board, FaZe struggled on attack with controlling anything. And what did FaZe do as a response? What was their adjustment? They slowed down, and they droned a whole heck of a lot more when they noticed that it was a problem. And it just didn't work out. Well, FaZe's attacking half is now expired. And we'll go to the defense. And this is a little bit easier for them, all things considered. The thing that FaZe has been struggling with the most in my mind is coordination. And I think seizing opportunities. And it's a lot easier to have solid coordination because it's a little bit more kind of just automatic on defense than it is on attack. So this is a very comfortable position for FaZe, all things considered. The only thing is, again, that mental game that FaZe has to be suffering from considering their circumstance, plus the 5-1 scoreline they find themselves facing right now. It's going to be hard to recover at this point.
Yeah. The general wisdom is that if 2 teams enter into a match without having any real experience on that map in particular, the defense will usually win more rounds because you need to be more precise on your entry. You need to be more precise on your attacking.
Plus, generally, coordinating is easier on defense. I mean,
much easier.
It just kind of happens. And
I always like to reference the EG FaZe matchup on Skyscraper that we saw at the Invitational last year. Neither team really played that match. And what happened? There was one lone attacking round victory, and that was all it took. The defense won every single time. FaZe suffering as they get the very first kill, but then swiftly traded off onto Cameraman's Mute playing inside of CCTV.
Bullet going to enter into CCTV. Perfect timing there from what looked like Mav to rotate. Some missed shots from Bullet, gonna miss out on a kill there. So Immortals have control of CCTV, which is a powerful position. They have control of East Stairs, another powerful position. They have coordinated and conducted their attack very efficiently. Also like what they did with Cyber downstairs to potentially get some damage done from below. But with this control now, they need to figure out where they want to attack. And it looks like they're setting themselves up for an armory wall take. They have the thermite, and they are preparing for the assault. One panel left unreinforced in an attempt to possibly deny the exothermic charge. But it's not going to happen. It'll go off, and Immortals now have the avenue they need to attack onto A.
Neither team has really done a great job of this breach denial. I mean, obviously because you don't have the Bandit, it's a lot more difficult, but we've seen both teams getting their exothermic charges off without much contest, period. Yeah. There's no impact tricking, you don't have any C4s going out, you don't have an Evil Eye Cam to zap anything away. Of course, Evil Eye Cams that have been used by both these teams have been situated so that they can't be able to get any exterior exothermic charges.
The smoke's gonna go out and the gas canisters as a response, and you can see that none of the attackers can see through smokes, but the defenders can thanks to the Evil Eyes. Could potentially deny the plan here thanks to the Evil Eye, but oh no, it gets shot by the Jackal of M-King, who will also take out Moringa. Moringa though with a little bit of team damage there, and doing his own work will clean up. FaZe Clan managed to take it in an absolute brawl. The diffuser getting put down by Immortals, but just not enough manpower to hold it in the post. Great job to FaZe Clan, and the most notable thing is that Immortals lost control of their flank watch. Because they didn't have control of the flank, it was an easy sweep up for FaZe, using the chaos in the armory wall take to distract. A bit of a messy round, pardon me, overall, but it's good to see FaZe bouncing back overall.
I think that was the first diffuser that we've seen planted as well.
Overall. Let me think back. Yes. Wait. Yes. Because FaZe were being exceptionally passive on attack. They barely got to the site some rounds.
Yes.
So. Or they barely got to a site a few of those rounds. Anyway, Immortals losing around there for the first time in quite a long time. First time in actually 5 rounds. So, good job to FaZe managing to take that first defense. They really needed that. If they had lost that, well, obviously it would have been match point at that point, which would have put us into the potential draw or just an outright win for Immortals. But because FaZe have won that round, it instills in them a sense of confidence. No matter who you are, it's going to do this to you. It's going to instill a sense of confidence and a knowledge that, hey, you know what it was? It was just defense side. Maybe we're better on defense. And we can keep this going in our favor. And hopefully, if you're a FaZe fan, those are the thoughts flowing through the minds of the FaZe players right now. And hopefully, again, if you're a FaZe fan, they'll be able to turn that into some more round wins.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser. Attackers' objective is to locate.
What I really like about FaZe from that last round was the fact that they never gave up on trying to deny the push.
Right.
As soon as they saw it coming, it was just no holds barred. And what we see often from teams when they're put into a 5-1 position, less experienced teams, is that they'll lock up. They'll be like, we have to keep ourselves alive. We can't risk anything. And FaZe said to heck with that. And they went for it. And you really got to give them props for that, especially considering their circumstance.
It's also how slippery the dock was of Astra. As you noted, the fact that Immortals lost their flank watch.
Yeah. And
then they lost control after the post plant. Because as they tried to transition, that brawl, as you mentioned it very effectively, everybody was just pulverizing each other. Nobody was really watching. I would imagine that for both teams, comms were a total mess.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Astra is very good at, he's silent but deadly. He can sneak up on you, and while he might not be the most vocal when it comes to team comms for FaZe, he gets the kills when he needs it the most. And then emerging from monitors over on that CCTV side of things. I was trying to say CCTV side of things, but it all just kind of blended together.
It happens.
It happens from time to time.
TVCC?
Monitors.
Monitors is arguably easier.
Well, I mean, monitors is what a lot of North American teams call CCTV as well. So,
yeah, because CCTV is a European thing.
Yeah. Navi's gets eliminated by Yuna, but then Astro gets picked apart from Cyber, who just opens up the wall into Archives. Has a great line of sight. Can look all the way down. It's really much of a contest, but FaZe is going to fight this very aggressively so. Yuna takes one down with Bullet. Cyber is there to pick up his second kill, and then will likely fetch his teammate up, but Immortals waltz on in. Mav still there. All this pressure from FaZe, but Moringa gets caught out, and it's going to be a barnstorm as Mav comes on in, but he doesn't know they dropped, and the MPX, no contest for the C7E of M-King, and Immortals will put themselves on the match point in a round where all of the action occurs within the first 30 seconds of the very first bullet being fired. An impressive recovery from Immortals there, and a great play to be able to seize control of that second floor, and then drop right as the round comes to an end.
It's a very crucial analysis that I would have gotten in if it weren't such a fast round, was that it's also like billiards and pool. Yeah, just regional.
Yeah, that's a good one. Same with how some people call half-wall bunker in Border as well.
Well, I think that's a minority in North America. That's like, my team called it bunker, but...
It's because there is technically the other half-wall that is right next to Sandwich, looking in towards Archives. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. But usually that's called like metal, like a lot of people call that metal, or like, or sheet. I've heard it called sheet before, as weird as that is, because a metal sheet. But
I've never heard that.
That's a really, I don't think that's a common one. Very, very, I think it was like one odd person on Discord, and I was like, why, what is sheet? And he's...
You put them on your bed.
Yeah. I have two. I have a fitted one, and and what was the other one? A loose? No, it's
more segues than a tour.
10 seconds to go.
that last round, Immortals just said heck it, and they just heckin' rushed in, and they didn't stop, and it worked out for them because FaZe. Wow, they were really doing their best to fight back, but some unfortunate circumstances there, especially with Moringa on that smoke. He was waiting for the push under the drop down. Oh, and then worst moment, he pulls out the gas canister. We're going to see an early pick here from Astro, which is great for FaZe, as it will really stunt the potential for a rush like what we just saw from Immortals, and even M-King paying homage to the accuracy that Astro has at his fingertips.
Lone set of smokes on behalf of the attackers also off the board, plus the ability to pin down one of the members of FaZe Clan with that Inox that is used from Jackal, or as we like to call it, his Jackal Trackle, in order to figure out where
nobody
the
calls
are.
it that, Parker.
Trackled by Jackaled.
Nobody calls it that.
I call it that, so that's at least one person, Michael. Anywho, we'd mentioned before that the Thermite had not had much of an issue on either team to be able to open the walls up. There you go, once again. PX will not have a contest being able to use his utility for hard destruction. And while FaZe does have a significant advantage by taking out that Jackal, they might lose Mav here if he gets a little bit too aggressive.
Trackle. Mav looking for the angle into Bathroom, and the skeleton key, is actually going to be to Cybera's detriment. Excellent shot there from Mav, reacting the perfect moment. Navi's pushing his way towards the main hall downstairs. Astro's going to get his second. So FaZe in commanding lead for this round and trying to fight for that draw. Looks like they're going to be able to take this one. Mav is going to be lit up, though, by PX, and he will be put on low HP. Luckily for him, there is a dock and potential for a reset, considering how comfortable FaZe is right now. Heal up there on Mav, as you can see, 2 stim shots being used.
Look how patient Navi's is being. He makes 0 noise. I mean, Ash at full speed makes 0 noise most of the time anyway, but crouch walking?
Yeah.
Or at least stealth walking?
Just walking in general as a 3-speed, it's no noise. It's
silent.
ridiculous.
Silent.
Bounce
Absolutely silent.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, Navi's going to be working his way towards Archives. I mean, Immortals are just waiting for picks, basically. And FaZe is not going to give them. That's essentially what's happening right now. Actually, I stand corrected. Astro, for some reason, is going to push his way upstairs. Now, Immortals has an opportunity to come back here. That was not a good call from Astro.
No, that was a unfortunate rotate that could snowball, but I find it very unlikely that Immortals is going to be able to make the pivot towards the site and not get cut down, just because of what FaZe has at their disposal. You've still got the Evil Eyes. You likely still have a Nitro Cell from Mav, but oh no, here's Navi's, and he will have to be on a one-man stand as PX gets cut down from Yuna. Navi's watching too many angles. He's getting marked. This is going to be very difficult. You've still got a scanner on the board, and too many members of FaZe, too many angles. Navi's not going anywhere. FaZe will at least prolong this game a little while longer and take their 3rd round.
Pick an angle, man. Pick an angle. Yeah,
I think he was. I think he was picking many.
He was picking 3 angles.
Almost too many.
Yeah, you need to pick one at a time, when where you think the enemy is coming from, and stick on that one and hope that you find somebody in that situation. But it is not what happened, and because of that, FaZe were able to take it. Well, actually, that's not the reason why. The reason why FaZe took that is because they got aggressive on defense, they got some early picks, and then later, when they realized they had the advantage, they hunkered down. At least for the most part, not all of them. Astro got aggressive, pushed upstairs. That was a mistake. But there were still 4 people alive on FaZe. And Immortals, in a 2 versus 4, not an easily won situation there, especially when you're on attack, and the defense has been the heavily favored side. So, FaZe, much closer now to bringing this back. And
Attackers need to locate.
yeah, I've never been on a tour group before. Have you?
No, I've never been on a Segway. That's not true. I've ridden a Segway.
Like an actual one of those, the things with the 2 wheels and the arm thing, where you...
Yeah, you have to lean forward.
I've never been on one of those.
A lot harder to pilot than you would anticipate.
Really?
Well, yeah, because in order to get it to go forwards, you have to lean forwards on it.
And it's like
and it feels like you're falling over. Yeah, and then you have to lean back to stop it, and it's like, whoa!
You have to do that same thing. If you've ever skateboarded before, I think it'd be pretty natural, because when you're you know, diving in on a pipe, it's pretty much the same thing. The first couple times you get really disoriented, you're like, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. And then once you actually just lean in and trust the board.
5 seconds remaining.
Dude, I did not know you shredded.
I used to.
You shred?
I used to, and then I broke my body and stopped. I broke like the entire left side of my body, and I was like, nope, I'm done now. Yeah. I was never as skilled as Macy J though.
Back to the video games I go.
Yeah,
all right.
I've actually broken my body doing that too.
How?
I don't know, man. Anyway, we're gonna see FaZe. They're bouncing back a little bit here, but I think most of it comes down to the defense side, and FaZe's coordination has been a lot better on defense. It has still been bad. It's worth noting we can't let go of that fact. FaZe has had terrible coordination for this whole match. Like, for example, Astro running upstairs, that's gotta be a miscommunication. That's gotta be like, Astro should have said, hey guys, I want to go do dumb stuff. By the way, I'm not trying to say bad things about Astro. I said that same thing when I played. I was like, guys, I'm going to do something really stupid. And then his team didn't say, no, don't do that. But, yeah, somebody needs to say no. FaZe needs to be a little bit more tighter if they want to bring this all the way back for a draw, is the point I'm trying to get at here. So, up in Armory, the ideal site for FaZe. First site they went to, the first site they won. Hopefully, if you're a FaZe fan, they'll be able to bring this even closer to a draw.
They have a long way to go.
Yeah, 3 rounds in a
And
row.
I've seen a lot of worrying signs about FaZe in this particular matchup, where I think that Immortals have had opportunities to close it out, just haven't been able to take it all that well. I am interested to see the way that these castle strategies are designed, because that castle barricade going on the window there, that's an easy breaching round that you don't necessarily need to use, unless you think that Bullet is possibly going to use it on barbed wire somewhere. But
it's 12 hits, man.
The only good news is that unless Navi's is bringing breaching charges, which he likely isn't, I imagine that we probably are running flashes on the Ash, Claymore, smokes, and then frag grenades. The only other opportunity outside of meleeing or using an exothermic charge will be that final breaching round from Ash, because the very first kill goes on favor of FaZe. They take out Cyber, but Bullet will take out Moringa. Bye-bye smoke. And there's the exothermic charge, opening up the wall all the way down into Archives, with PX in command inside of offices. And he'll go on to drone to give the rest of his team information. They know that there's a dog not too far off. And this could be an easy pinch. Astro in a lot of trouble, tries to pick himself up, but there's Immortals. Signature coordination that they've been doing so far in this matchup. Being able to pick 2 off for FaZe. They're going to lose another as Bullet is there. He'll eliminate Mav. And this is all going in Immortals' favor. FaZe falling under pressure here. Not a lot of time left. A flank from Cameraman will go nowhere. There's only 1 kill away from Immortals being able to claim this round. And claim it they shall with Navi's there. The F2, just such a powerful gun. There wasn't much left of Yuna's Maestro to deal with. But the F2 will make quick work of it anyway. And Immortals will take a victory and finish the first half of the season without a loss.
Poor play from FaZe, poor play from Immortals, but slightly better. And overall, a quite interesting match. It was across the board sloppy, but we did see some very well-coordinated rounds from Immortals, and honestly, that's why they deserve to be the victor here. Especially on their attacking half, where it was a lot harder to put together that that coordination. On defense, again, it kind of just happens sometimes for teams. That's why FaZe looked a lot stronger on defense. You don't necessarily need to communicate nearly as much as you just need to have an understanding of the default holds, where your teammates are, and those are pre-coordinated. When it comes to attack, it requires a little bit more on-the-fly thinking and a little bit more individual fragging power, and Immortals clearly had a whole lot more of that. They were just in a better place in terms of mindset, and quite literally where they were in their own homes, and not so with FaZe.
So Immortals has some convincing victories over really strong teams. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on them as they warm up for their run into the Invitational. They're going to be in a pretty tough group, but they're obviously looking stronger than they have previously. Those 2 roster moves propelling them upwards towards the upper echelons of Latin America. That's match 1 in the books for us. We're going to be following up with a pretty exciting contest between Team Liquid and Ninjas in Pajamas. But first, a break, and then we'll get things underway with our second match here, the final day of the first half for Latin America Pro League.